At this time, we're going to ask that you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance of the American flag and remain standing for our invocation given tonight by Councilor Boone. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pray with me, please. Dear Lord, we come before you tonight, just privileged to be here. We take this seat very seriously. Thank you for the honor of sitting here and serving the people of Prattville. I ask that you give us wisdom as we govern. Help us to do things the way that you would, in an orderly fashion, and do the very best for the citizens of Prattville. Just bless our meeting tonight in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Councilor Striplin.
Here.
Councilor Wood.
Here.
Councilor Brown.
Here.
Councilor Starnes.
Here.
Councilor Whiteside.
Here.
Councilor Bowles.
Here.
Councilor Boone.
Here.
I call this City Council meeting to order. Character trait of the month is flexibility, willingness to change plans or ideas without getting upset. It's a very good character trait. We all need to try to use it as much as possible. At this time, we have approval of the minutes. Public hearing in the City Council meeting August 4th, 2015. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of approval of those minutes signify by raising your right hand. And those minutes are approved. At this time, we have comments from persons present regarding tonight's agenda. Anyone would like to speak on any item on tonight's agenda, please raise your hand. Mayor, you have a report?
I do, and if I might ask for a point of privilege.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Have our Public Works Director, Dale Gandy, come up, and I think he has some new members of our private team.
Yeah, how y'all doing tonight?
Good afternoon.
We are very pleased with two new additions to the Prattville family, and then Carl, who has been with Prattville for a while and has worked his way up into a promotion. And Jamie Jordan is a newly hired foreman in the sanitation department. Carl Brown is been in the sanitation department, has worked his way up, and is now a foreman. And Tracy Simpson will start officially Thursday, I guess, is the new superintendent of sanitation. And I'm excited. I think everybody who has been around these guys are excited and for the department and for the city, and we can't wait to get to work. Y'all want to say that?
Yes, I want to say to each one of y'all, I want to thank you all. I want to thank the mayor for giving me the opportunity. I want to let everybody know that my job is to provide excellent service to the citizens here at Prattville, and that's my goal.
Thank you.
I just want to say I will continue doing what I do best, what I always do, handle the job, take care of the situation, whatever occurs.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you for giving me the chance, and I'm going to make the best of it.
And Jamie and Carl have been kind of holding it down for the last really month, and they have really stepped up and doing a great job. And I hate to think of where we'd be at today if it wasn't for those two really stepping up and doing great. So I appreciate them and really look forward to Tracy coming on board.
As a team, we will provide the best service ever again in Prattville.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm fine. You good? Yes. I'll stand over my side shortly.
Congratulations to each one of you gentlemen.
Yes, congratulations, and thank you, Dale, but also I want to say thank you to HR for all the hard work they're putting together to be able to pull together this clean city team here, and then that's what it's going to really take, team effort for us to deliver the product, deliver the service that we're all been looking for. So thank you guys, and thank your family also, because I know all the dedication also, you have to have family behind you for that to happen too. So thank you. Mr. Starnes, glad to see you're all dressed up in the LPGA Classic shirt here tonight, so I guess you know a little bit about what I was going to talk about tonight.
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Yeah, because right now we already have had tournament staff that have rolled into Prattville and with the Yokohama Tire LPGA Classic, and they're busy erecting the skyboxes and setting up for everyone's enjoyment next week. I want to thank all the city staff too that have gone through all their pre-event planning. There's so much behind the scenes that the average person is not even aware of, and it's good to keep it that way. Some of this, as Council President Wood might remember, is part of an economic development project from back in 1899.
You got to go back further.
Further than 1899. Well, let's see. Daniel Pratt was still around at that time.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done on that one. But, you know, I have a did you know little quiz here tonight. Lodging taxes back in prior to 1999 were $277,000 on an annual basis. What do you think our current lodging taxes are here in the city of Prattville at this time?
$1,444,000.
Well, that's pretty close. I got 1.4, so I'll take you. But yeah, 1.4. You know, that's more than five-fold increase in 16 years. Not everyone can not everyone could visualize the proposed success of this project. Therefore, I just want to say thank you so much that you have done in your role and all the others involved, and Council President Wood and the collective foresight in establishing this jewel that brings to much of our area. You know, the return of this investment is apparent and much appreciated. It's helped fund so many other, the revenues that we have collected off of this has actually helped fund so many other projects, and it is just a very big part of Prattville. And talking about investments on our agenda tonight, resolution number 3 is also an investment in this community. With this passage, this body will improve the efficiency and effectiveness of our Sanitation Division of Public Works. There is good debt and bad debt. Personnel and equipment are investments. These investments streamline processes, costs, and efficiencies. Replacing old equipment requires a great deal of maintenance. With new vehicles will keep downtime to a minimum and make our crews more efficient. Thank you for investing in our future. Speaking of the future, I anticipate presenting the proposed 2016 budget to this body at the next council meeting. You can anticipate a copy of this budget in your mailboxes prior to the official presentation at the next council meeting. Any further? That's the end of my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor. Does anyone have any questions or comments for the mayor? Thank you. It does not go back to the 1800s, but it does go back to 1988, I believe, and I was a part of that, and I'm very glad. I, along with Dr. David Bronner, they thought he was crazy, and the people in Prattville, in my area, thought I was crazy for supporting the Robert Trent Jones, but it has paid off, and we appreciate it. At this time, we'll have a report on council special committees. Councilor Strickland?
No, sir.
Councilor Brown?
No, sir.
Councilor Starnes?
Yes, sir. There'll be a Public Safety Committee meeting on Friday, August 21st at 9 a.m. in the police conference room. Thank you, sir.
Councilor Whiteside?
No, sir.
Councilor Bowles?
No, sir.
Councilor Boone?
No, sir.
With that, we'll have a report about city finances from our finance director.
The finance packet is in front of you for the month of July. The first sheet in the packet is the revenue report. Shows we are 75% through the year on revenue, and we have collected 84.55% of our budgeted revenues for the year. So we're running really well on that. Most all the revenue line items are running right in line where they should be. The next sheet in the packet is the tax breakdown comparison, showing line by line the different taxes and how we performed for the month. You will notice some of the items we were down for the month of July. That was due primarily to a use tax audit that we got in last July, so it made it higher than normal. So without those, we were actually up for the month of July. The next sheet in the packet is the expense by department for the month of July. You'll see that on the expense side, we're 83.33% through the year. Everybody's running right in line where they should be as far as expenses are concerned, and you will see that we have spent 77.8% of our budgeted expenses. The next sheet is the wastewater enterprise fund income statement. You will see that they run right in line where they should be. They have received 79.69% of their budgeted revenues, and they've spent 99.55% of their budgeted expenses, but a large portion of that is due to a prepayment of a debt that we had, and they're not paying that off early. The next sheet is the Sanitation Enterprise Fund income statement. You'll see that they have brought in 75.74% of their budgeted expenses, and they've spent 77.94% of their budgeted, 75.74% of their budgeted revenues, and 77.94% of their budget expenses. The next sheet in the packet is the Judicial Special Revenue Fund income statement. You will still see that they are running a little bit behind on their budgeted revenue that they've received, but they're also running low on their expenses, so they're keeping track of their expenses, keeping those down. Okay, the next sheet in the packet is the bank account balances report for the month of July. 2015. You'll see that the balance of all city accounts is $19,373,696.62. You will also notice in there that the debt reserve account has $4.4 million. Well, it's actually $4,451,000 in there, more than enough to cover the payment that's coming up. The last sheet in the packet is the accounts payable and debt balances, showing that for July 31st, 2015, the balance of all city accounts payable and debt was $40,882,863.30.
Thank you, Mr. Mosley. You mentioned more than enough to make the payment. Is that a November payment that we're talking about?
That's the payment coming up in August.
In August, okay.
Yes, sir.
Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I notice here that on the debt balance sheet, the fire truck is paid off. When did that happen?
That happened the month of July. We paid the rest of the AM fund loan off.
So the fire department is out of debt, pretty much?
Correct. All the equipment that we had issued debt for has been paid off.
Excellent. They have a really good committee. That's the reason I say that. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for Mr. Mosley? Thank you. With that, we are going to our agenda tonight. We have 2 items on the consent agenda to consider. One is a resolution to declare various weedy lots to be a public nuisance and ordinary abatement per Title 11, Chapter 67 of the Code of Alabama, 1975, as amended. The other is a resolution to grant permission to the Prattville Lions Quarterback Club to collect a parking fee at Stanley Jensen Stadium for the 2015 football season. We have a motion to place these 2 items on the consent agenda.
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Be any discussion? All in favor of placing these 2 items on a consent agenda signify by raising your right hand. And these 2 items have been placed on the consent agenda. We have a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion to adopt. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Be any discussion on either one of these items? All in favor of adoption signify by raising your right hand. And the consent agenda is adopted. We're going to our agenda. The first item is an ordinance to surplus 1 vehicle and various equipment from the police department. Councilor Starnes, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Be ordained by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama as follows, that the vehicle listed below and the equipment listed in Attachment A are hereby declared surplus to the Police Department in order to be removed from the inventory of said department. 2005 Ford Explorer Department number 08-104. Be it further ordained that the City Council instructs the mayor to sell said vehicle and equipment on govsdeal.com and the proceeds be deposited into the general fund. So move, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? We have a second. This being an ordinance of permanent nature, the rules will need to be suspended unanimously in order to be considered tonight. We have a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
We have a motion to suspend. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of suspension of the rules signify by raising your right hand. The rules have been now suspended. Will there be any discussion on this item? All in favor of adoption signify by raising your right hand. And this ordinance is adopted. Number 2 is an ordinance also to petition for annexation of Anderson property, County Road 29. Councilor Strickland, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama, that the City of Prattville is a city with a population of over 6,000 inhabitants located in the state of Alabama, and that it has been presented by petition by all owners of property located and contained which are contiguous to the corporate limits of the City of Prattville as they are now situated, and that the property described in the petition sought to be annexed is as described in Attachment A and shown in Attachment B, and that said property does not lie within the corporate limits of any other municipality. and that all owners as defined by Section 11-42-20 Code of Alabama 1975 as amended, have executed said petition requesting the property be annexed into the City of Prattville, and that the City of Prattville finds that it is in the best interest of the City of Prattville and its inhabitants to annex said property. And that the City Council of the City of Prattville finds that the petition has met all the requirements of Title 11-42-20 through 11-42-23 Code of Alabama 1975 as amended. Be it further ordained by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama, that the corporate limits of the City of Prattville be extended and rearranged so as to embrace and include the following property as described in Attachment A and shown in Attachment B, and that such property shall become a part of the corporate area of Prattville, Alabama upon passage and publication of this ordinance as required by law. Be it further ordained and that the extension of sewer lines in the newly annexed areas shall not be provided until such time as it becomes economically feasible for the city to provide the same. Be it further ordained that a copy of the petition be filed in the office of the Judge of Probate of Watauga County, Alabama, and that this ordinance be published in the Prattville Progress of Watauga County, Alabama. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. This being an ordinance also, the rules must be suspended in order to be considered tonight. We have a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of suspension of the rules signify by raising your right hand. Rules have now been suspended. We'll be in a discussion on this ordinance. All in favor of adoption signify by raising your right hand. And this ordinance is adopted. Item number 3 is a resolution to authorize the purchase of sanitation equipment from Ingram Equipment Company, LLC, through NJPA, purchasing cooperative contracts for the sanitation department at a cost of $1,360,414.73 to be financed by Regions Bank. Council Strickland, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas there is a need for dependable equipment in the sanitation department, including 5 loaders, 2 boom trucks, and 1 automated side loader, and 1 dump insert. And whereas the following equipment is available through the NJPA Purchasing Cooperative from Ingram Equipment Company, LLC, at a cost of $360,414.73. 5 Heil Durapack 5000 heavy-duty rear loaders, contract number 060612-ESG. 1 Heil Durapack Python automated side loader, contract 060612-ESG. 2 Kenworth T370s with PackMac shuttle loader and trailer, contract number 10211-NAF, and 1 Parzan Easy Dump insert, contract number 102911-NAF. And whereas the lead time to build said equipment is approximately 6 months, and whereas said equipment shall be financed through Regions Bank for a period of 5 years, and monthly payments shall be made from the Sanitation Enterprise Fund. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that the purchase of said equipment for the Sanitation Department through the NJPA Purchasing Cooperative from Ingram Equipment Company, LLC, at a cost of $1,360,414.73 is hereby approved and appropriated, and financing for said equipment is hereby authorized and approved through Regions Bank. Be it further resolved that the mayor is authorized and empowered to execute any and all documents necessary to finance said equipment for and on behalf of the City of Prattville. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second. We'll be in a discussion. All in favor of adoption signify by raising your right hand. And this item is adopted. Item number 4 is a resolution to set a public hearing to zone property located at 630 Vintage Way to R5 Patio Garden Home. Councilor Boone, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas Oaks of Buena Vista LLC is the owner of the property described in Attachment A and shown in Attachment B, and whereas the property to be zoned is located on the east end of Vintage Way and was annexed into the city limits on July 21st, 2015, and whereas the petitioner wishes to zone the property to R5 Patio Garden Homes, and whereas the public hearing on the proposed zoning was held by the Prattville Planning Commission on July 16th, 2015, and whereas the City of Prattville Planning Commission did recommend the zoning of said property be amended as described in Attachment A and Attachment B to R5 Patio Garden Homes upon completion of the requested annexation. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that a public hearing is set for September 15th, 2015, 6 p.m. in the council chambers at City Hall. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Will there be any discussion on this resolution? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And the resolution has been adopted. Will you read the ordinance part?
Pursuant to the requirements of Title 11-52-77 Code of Alabama 1975 as amended, notice is hereby given by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama, that the regular meeting of said City Council on the 18th day of August 2015 at Prattville City Hall, 101 West Main Street, Prattville, Alabama, the following proposed ordinance was introduced. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Prattville as follows, that the zoning ordinance of the City of Prattville, Alabama, adopted on February 10, 1950, subsequently amended from time to time, and the zoning map adopted on the first day of May 1987 is hereby amended to reclassify the property described in Attachment A and displayed in Attachment B to R5 Patio Garden Homes, and that this proposed ordinance was advertised for 2 weeks in the Prattville Progress, a newspaper of general circulation within the city limits of the City of Prattville, and that the City Council of the City of Prattville shall, at its public hearing on the 15th day of September 2015 at 6 p.m., consider the proposed ordinance, that such time and place all persons who desire shall have an opportunity to be heard in favor of or in opposition to such an ordinance, that this ordinance is adopted under the authority of Section 11-52-85 of the Code of Alabama as amended, and is contingent on the petitioner completing the process to annex property described in Attachment A and shown in Attachment B into the City of Prattville no later than 180 days following adoption of the ordinance. All other items and provisions of the zoning ordinance of the City of Prattville will not herein specifically amended shall remain in full force and effect. The amendments herein contained were considered and approved by the City of the Prattville Planning Commission on July 16, 2015. This ordinance shall become effective upon its passage and execution as provided by law. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. This sets a public hearing for this item for September. It's 6 p.m. the 15th day of September, 6 p.m. here in these chambers. Next item is a resolution to set a public hearing to zone property located at Rocky Mountain Road, Old Farm Lane, to FAR, Fargers Agriculture, Recreation. Councilor Whiteside, will you read it, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. Whereas Spencer Swan is the owner of the property described in Attachment A and shown in Attachment B, and whereas the property to be zoned is located at Rocky Mount Road at Old Farm Lane and was annexed into the city limits on July 21st, 2015, and whereas a public hearing on the proposed zoning was held by the Prattville Planning Commission on April 16th, 2015, and whereas the City of Prattville Planning Commission did recommend the zoning of said property be amended as described in Attachment A and Attachment B to R4 multifamily residential upon completion of the requested annexation, and whereas the petitioner wishes to zone the property to FAR, Forest Agriculture Recreation, in lieu of R4 zoning previously requested. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that a public hearing is set for September 15th, 2015 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers of City Hall. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. Will be any discussion on this resolution? All in favor of adoption signify by raising your right hand. And this resolution is adopted. We read the ordinance, Councilor Whiteside.
Yes, sir. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama, as follows, that the zoning ordinance of the City of Prattville, Alabama, adopted on February 10th, 1950, subsequently amended from time to time, and the zoning map adopted on the first day of May 1987 is hereby amended to classify the property described in Attachment A and displayed in Attachment B to FAR, Forest Agriculture Recreation, and that this proposed ordinance was advertised for 2 weeks in the Prattville Progress, a newspaper of general circulation within the city limits of the city of Prattville, and that the City Council of the City of Prattville shall, at its public hearing on the 15th day of September 2015 at 6 p.m., consider said proposed ordinance, and that at such time and place all persons who desire shall have the opportunity to be heard in favor of or in opposition to such ordinance, that this ordinance is adopted under the authority of Title 11, 5285, Code of Alabama, 1975, as amended. All other items and provisions of the zoning ordinance of the City of Prattville not herein specifically amended shall remain in full force and effect. The amendments herein contained were considered by the City of Prattville Planning Commission on April 16, 2015, with a recommendation to zone R4 multifamily residential. This ordinance shall become effective upon its passage and execution as provided by law. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. This ordinance also sets a public hearing on the 15th day of September 2015 at 6 p.m. in these council chambers. Item number 6 is a resolution to amend FY 2015 budget and to authorize the purchase of playground equipment for Upper Kingston Park for the Parks and Recreation Department at a cost not to exceed $10,184. Councilor Boone, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas the Parks and Recreation Department has a need for a new playground equipment for Upper Kingston Park, and whereas said equipment is available from J.A. Dawson and Company at a cost not to exceed $10,184, and whereas said purchase is a budgeted expense for the Parks and Recreation Department, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that FY 2015 budget line item Parks and Rec Department operating supplies is hereby decreased by $10,184, and the FY 2015 budget line item Parks and Rec Department capital outlay is hereby increased by $10,184. Be it further resolved that the funds in the amount of $10,184 are hereby authorized and approved to be paid to J.A. Dawson and Company for the purchase of playground equipment for Upper Kingston Park, and said funds are approved and appropriated from the FY 2015 budget line item Parks and Rec Department capital outlay. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Will there be any discussion on this item? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And this item is adopted. That exhausts our agenda for tonight. At this time, we have comments from persons present on any item they'd like to speak about. Please come to the microphone. Seeing now, Mayor, you have any closing comments? Councilor Striplin? No, sir. Councilor Brown?
No, sir.
Councilor Stearns?
No, sir.
Councilor Whiteside?
Just like to say again, welcome, and looking forward to working with you guys.
Councilor Bowles? Councilor Boone?
No, sir.
I'm going to make my closing comments at this time. We will be asked to vote to go into executive session after this. Again, as always, appreciate what everyone is doing for the city of Prattville. We welcome you, gentlemen. We pray that things go well with you and your new hire, and things go well with you and your family. Thank the council for what you're doing always. You're diligently working with your committees, and it tells, and we urge you to continue to do so. At this time, I'm going to ask that we take a vote to go into executive session, and then we will come back in approximately 1 hour and adjourn. We have a motion to adjourn for executive session. Motion. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. We are adjourned to executive session, hopefully to return within an hour. Let the clerk show that it's 7:25. We have a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. And we are out of executive session at 7:25. Being no further discussion, do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. All in favor of adjourn, signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes.